Hey guys, this will be I want to say example three. Sorry, I didn't check before we kept going. I think it's example three, example four. Remember, it's the next example in our section 4.4. And what we're looking right now is at trend lines. So we are going to create a trend line for this data set. So we're looking at the weight of a baby and we're comparing its age in months to the weight in pounds. And one thing I want everyone to notice, when you see this little like zigzag in here, what that means, there's a break in the data. So if you notice, up here it goes from 4 to 6 to 8 to 10. We're going by twos. This went from 0 to 4. Since this doesn't follow the pattern of every other tick mark, you have to show it on a graph. And that's what that little zigzag means. It's a break in the data, so we just jumped up there. All right, now we are going to look at this data. You look at it, if we connected all the points, we would not have a perfect line. So we want to come up with the best line we can. And the best line I can see, it kind of looks like it goes around like this. Okay? Maybe that's a little high, maybe about like that. That's a pretty good line for them. And that's what they said for us to go through. We are going to make a trend line that goes through 110 and 716. So for us to be able to do that, first I'm going to plot the point. It goes through 110, then it goes through 716. Okay? So if you have a ruler, you can just do this at home and draw it out like this. And we'll have a pretty decent line. Now, if I want to write my equation for this line, which is what I'm going to want to do because that's what's going to allow me to make predictions. And I'll tell you what, I'm actually going to change this to a red line just so it shows up a little better against the backdrop. So I'm going to go back to 110 and 716. And redraw that line for you. All right. So now I think you can see that a little bit better. Now we need to be able to come up with the equation of this line. This goes back to everything we just learned in 4.1 through 4.3. We have 2 points, we need to write the equation of the line. So all we're going to do is find our slope. But the nice thing is, since we graphed it, we could even count it. You can use slope formula 16 minus 10 over 7 minus 1. You end up with 6 over 6 or 1. And when you see here, that's pretty much what we have. It might not look that way when you count it. You have to remember, though we only went up one step, each step counts as 2. So we really went up 2 units. And then when we go over this way, well, you see from here, there's another lattice point on our line. We went up 2 over 2. So the numbering on the graph can make the slope look different. That's why you always have to trust your numbers. This told us the slope was 1. I went up 2 over 2. 2 over 2 is 1 also. So now we have our slope. And if you want to finish figuring out in slope-intercept form, I don't know exactly what this is. It looks pretty close to 9, but I can't be sure. I have to now go in and plug y minus, I'm going to use the point 110, equals my slope of 1 outside of x minus 1. All right? Y minus 10 equals x minus 1. Add 10, add 10. Y does equal x plus 9. So that does in fact cross right at 9. So if you guessed it, you were really lucky this time. But I'm going to tell you, as the problems get harder, you can't just assume that. So we did not know that in the beginning that was exactly 9. So now we have our trend line, y equals x plus 9. And let's talk a little bit more about what that means. We have a data set of the age in months and the weight of the baby. So we had babies are born around 6.5 pounds, and then we have a 1 month old that's a little bit, 9.2. 2 months it's at almost 11 pounds, and that's what all that data points mean. So babies' weights can fluctuate. They don't follow a perfectly linear pattern. But if I want to make predictions, the best prediction I can make comes from this line. So I can start making predictions. I can look, what do I expect an 8-month baby to weigh? Go to the 8, come right up. I would expect it to be right around 17 pounds. Or you can plug it in here. You can take 8 would be my input. 8 plus 9 would be 17. So its weight would be 17 pounds. Now let's go through and finish the actual problems. We have to zoom out now. So, sorry, we're going to lose some of what we had here. It won't fit in. So, interpret the y-intercept for the fit of this scenario. So remember, whenever you're talking about a y-intercept, we know one thing, x is 0. So when we're finding the y-intercept, we're looking at the point 0, 9, because when we looked, and I'll write the line up here, y equals x plus 9, mx plus b, m is my slope, b is my y-intercept. So I know I'm looking at the point 0, 9. And I told you guys from the beginning, think of the y-intercept as where you start. Well, if we're talking about age and we're starting at 0, that's when the baby's born. So we are saying most babies are born at about 9 pounds. You see our data set did not match that, which is fine. We're not saying this baby was born. We're saying we expect a baby to be born. Everyone has a little bit of difference. Theoretical and true are often off, but theoretical is our best guess. So when we interpret the y-intercept for a line of fit, we are interpreting that at 0 months, or when the baby's born, we would have a 9-pound baby. Now, interpret your slope of your line. Well, remember, slope, go back to the very beginning, was change in y over change in x. Remember, triangles mean change. Well, change in y. Y was weight. Our slope was 1 over 1. We expect a change of 1 pound, because we're talking in weights, every 1 month, because that was our change in age down here. So slope is a rate of change. We are changing, and remember, you can read this per 1 pound or per 1 month. So that should explain our last part, but make sure you really focus in on the y-intercept and the slope. The y-intercept, you always use your x and y points. So you could say at 0 months, I expect the baby to weigh 9 pounds. But now we have to use a little bit of common sense and interpretation to say 0 months means something. It's the start of life. It's when the baby's born. And then we look at our slope, 1 pound for every month. That means we expect the baby's weight to change by +1 or go up. Notice our line was going up. We expect it to go up 1 pound every month. So make sure we understand what everything means. Everything has meaning. It's not just numbers in isolation. Go ahead and you can work on your monitoring progress and start your homework. Thank you guys very much and good luck on the project. Ask me if you have any questions on this, please.